The Stoic chronicles the intertwined lives of Henry and Scott, childhood friends from vastly different backgrounds. Their bond is forged in innocence, but as teenagers, their paths begin to diverge. Henry grows into a confident and charismatic figure, while Scott remains overshadowed. This dynamic makes Scott a target for a local school gang, culminating in a brutal attack that leaves him both physically and emotionally scarred. Feeling abandoned when Henry departs for a prestigious university abroad, Scott, who does not come from a wealthy family like Henry, resolves to chart his own path to success, determined not to live in Henry's shadow. Meanwhile, Henry, unaware of Scott's struggles, celebrates his achievements but is troubled by the growing distance between them. Years later, their lives intersect in unexpected ways. Scott, now a wealthy and influential figure, has transformed into a hardened man, haunted by his past choices. When he learns of Henry's return, a storm of emotions, anger, regret, and anticipation overwhelms him. The story leaves their eventual reunion shrouded in mystery, setting the stage for a poignant exploration of friendship, betrayal, and the possibility of redemption in the wake of their shared history. The office of Brown Corporation is abuzz with activity. Henry Brown sits at his luxurious desk. A laptop sits on the table in front of him, while his phone lies beside neatly stacked documents. He leans back in his chair, reviewing Scott's business proposal on his laptop. A faint frown crosses his face as numbers and terms blur together. The office door opens. His office assistant, a polished young woman, steps in. His assistant speaks nervously. "Mr. Brown, officers from the Federal Investigation Bureau are here to see you." Henry's expression tightens. He adjusts his tie and stands. Henry, firmly, "Send them in." Moments later, the FIB agents, two stoic figures in dark suits, sit across from Henry at a conference table. Agent 1, serious. "Mr. Brown, we're investigating offshore accounts tied to potential illegal activity. Some of these funds have been funneled into Brown Corporation projects." Henry's face remains calm, though his hands clench beneath the table. Henry, evenly, "That's a serious accusation. Brown Corporation has zero tolerance for unethical practices." The agents exchange a look. Agent 2, firmly, "We'll need full transparency on all recent foreign investments, particularly those tied to Mr. Scott Sawyer." Henry's jaw tightens. Henry, confidently, "You'll have everything you need. Lead officer, we'll be in touch." The family gathers for dinner. The elegant space, adorned with soft lighting and antique furnishings, reflects their wealth and history. Elizabeth, grinning, "Big brother, why are you so tense? You look like you're about to go to war." Henry forces a smile, but his father's sharp gaze cuts through the banter. Chief Martins, in a stern tone, "Henry, what's going on?" Henry glances at his mother, then back at his father. Henry, with a serious look written all over his face, "Federal Investigation Bureau agents came by today. They're investigating Scott's investors." The table falls silent. Mrs. Brown, concerned, "Henry, are we in trouble?" Henry, calmly, "Not yet, but I need to be sure." After dinner with his family, Henry proceeds to his private apartment. James, a sharp-eyed tech expert in his early 30s, sits amidst a sea of glowing monitors. Henry leans forward, his hands resting on the table. "These offshore accounts, can you trace them?" James, sighing, "It's risky, but for you, I'll try." James's fingers fly across the keyboard, pulling up encrypted transactions. James, grimly, "If these are legit investors, why all the layers of secrecy?" Henry's jaw tightens as a sense of betrayal creeps in. Henry and James analyze financial records late into the night. James uncovers shell companies tied to dark web laundering schemes. Why did Scott come to me with such dubious companies? Why didn't he conduct a private assessment of the investors? So many questions kept propping up in Henry's mind. "I need to meet up with Scott so that I can get a better explanation from him." In the evening of the following day, Henry arrives at the upscale View restaurant in his luxury sedan for a scheduled meeting with Scott. The valet greets him as he steps out, adjusting his navy blue suit and black bow tie. Inside, Scott Sawyer, a charismatic 28-year-old man in a tailored blue suit and matching blue Italian-style tie, rises to greet him with a smile. Scott, warmly, "Henry, it's been too long." They shake hands and settle into their seats, the soft glow of candlelight illuminating their faces. Scott, chuckling, "Remember our wild days?" Henry's smile is faint. Henry, carefully, "A lot has changed since then, Scott." The air between them shifts. Henry, directly, "These investors, who are they?" Scott's confident expression falters. "They're just private backers. You're overthinking this." Henry, firmly, "Then be transparent. Let me see everything." Scott leans back, his smile fading. Scott, quietly, "Don't you trust me?" Henry's silence speaks volumes. The next day at Brown Corporation, Henry presents his findings to Chief Martins and their legal team. Henry, resolute, "These funds are tainted. If we move forward, we risk everything." Chief Martins, dressed in a dark pinstripe suit, steeples his fingers. Henry, hesitating, "I'm not sure if he knows, but his secrecy is concerning." Chief Martins nods. "Then pull the plug. Protecting our name comes first." Later that evening, Henry returns to his apartment. He sits on his bed, typing a message to Scott. "I can't proceed with the deal. Too many red flags." As he hits send, his phone buzzes. It's Scott. "You're backing out? After everything we've been through?" Henry closes his eyes, his voice steady. Henry, calmly, "I won't gamble my family's legacy, Scott." Scott, quietly, "You'll regret this." The call ends. Henry stares at the screen, the weight of betrayal settling over him. Scott sits in his upscale apartment, tension etched on his face. He pours a drink, his mind racing. If Henry digs any deeper, he picks up his phone, dialing a number. Scott, in a grim tone, "We need to talk. Now." A dimly lit room, maps and charts pinned to the walls. A shadowy figure answers Scott's call. Dark Lord, calm, menacing. "What is it?" Scott, nervously, "Henry's getting suspicious." The Dark Lord's tone grows colder. "Handle it, or I will." Scott's grip tightens on the phone, his face pale. Henry sits on his bed, staring at his laptop. He types a message to James. "Dig deeper into those shell companies. I need answers." As he sends the message, his phone buzzes with an unknown caller on the line. Henry, answering. "Hello?" A distorted voice responds. The caller on the line speaks in a threatening tone. "Back off, Mr. Brown. Some questions are better left unanswered." Henry hangs up, his resolve hardening. Henry, speaking to himself, "This isn't over.